This is Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. 17 minutes after the hour right here on KCMX News Radio 880 in the Sunrise Show. And I want to welcome onto the program Loma Wharton and Rae Copitka. They're founders of the Liberators 2004 organization. And you can go to their website, Liberators2004, as in 2004.org. And Rae and Loma, both thanks for being on the program this morning. Want to talk about land use. And it's so interesting. We hosted Ken Ivory, who is a current Utah State Representative and founder of the American Lands Council. And it's interesting, his phrase, I love it. He said, "It's been done before." Would you explain to our listeners what that means, it's been done before, related to land use and federal land management in Oregon?
Sure. You know, as Ken kind of says, tongue-in-cheek, that great western state of Florida just recently did it. And we've had several states that have done it. You know, the equal footing doctrine didn't exactly take hold in some of the states where they were very mineral rich. The federal government wanted to keep hold, and that's exactly what's happening in the western states. They want control of the timber. They want control of the minerals. We have an incredible source of mineral wealth here in the West, and probably second only to Siberia. So, you know, the wealth involved in that and them keeping control of that has such a huge impact on our entire economy. I think what most people don't understand is that if we had control, if every state and every county had control of the lands within their borders, and we're able to steward it properly, because right now it's not. Right now we're just managing forest fires. You know, we're loving our forests to death.
Exactly right.
And if we were able to actually work our resources the way they should be worked, take care of our forests the way they should be taken care of, our economy would be booming. I know that there are people who have lived here long enough to remember the 50s, 60s, 70s, even the 80s, how rich our counties were. How prosperous they were. And it's not just logging that it affects or just mining. When you think about the trickle down, so to speak, you know, you've got your small engine repair, your hotels, your restaurants, your gas stations, your insurance companies, your grocery stores. The list goes on and on. It spreads out from that base economic foundation. No matter what state you're in, you know, you have to utilize what you've been given, because from there it grows.
It does. And Rae, the interesting thing is, when you look at the chart, federal land in Oregon, Jackson County, 50%, Josephine County, 68%. And when you equate that, remember, follow the money, when you equate that to dollars and the payment in lieu of taxes, you know, the chart shows federal acres in Jackson County, 903,000 acres. It puts it at 50%. That's $861,000. But the SRS, 7.6 million. And people forget that Josephine County at one point had no property tax because it was all paid by the ONC lands, the funds coming in from that.
Exactly. Right. And that's why they've had such a difficult time passing any kind of tax measures. They just won't do it. They want their lands back. They want the county government to be fiscally responsible and to be economically responsible to the people and do their job. And that's why they will not pass any kind of tax increase.
It's nuts.
Craig, this is Loma. Let me clarify something here. The General Accounting Services maintains an inventory of the land managed by the federal government in the state of Oregon. They owned no land. Crater Lake was, I believe, donated to them. They own no land. They're a proprietor.
Exactly.
We still maintain service of process and criminal activity with our sheriffs. but they own no land. This land belongs to each and every county and each and every citizen that's in these counties.
Exactly.
Not the Fed. They're managers. They're caretakers.
Yeah, we've got about a minute and a half left, but in this next break, in this next segment, I want to talk about the proclamation that Klamath County commissioners have put forth just in the last few days. But it's so interesting. I don't know if you saw this yet. This came out of the Associated Press this morning. They say wealth gap paints grim picture for Oregon, and they're saying that we're going to have more taxes because we don't have a sales tax, and overhaul the Oregon's tax code. And you're thinking, goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, we've got all this land that the feds have got racked up. Why don't we just use the land instead of having to pay more taxes?
Yep, exactly.
And, you wonder if people are going to get the hint, if they're going to hear the message, and they're going to start realizing that we've been taken to the cleaners, if you would. Meanwhile, half of our state is being set aside, and it's that death by 1,000 cuts.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's just nuts to me that but Rae and Loma, both with this Liberators 2004, it was great to have Ken Ivory come in to Josephine County and speak with Sheriff Gil Gilbertson and put on his presentation. It was shocking to see that this same exact thing was handled in the Midwestern states, and by 1850 or whatever, their stability was such that they said, hey, we will manage our own lands, thank you very much, and the federal government acquiesced, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And that's exactly why we invited Ken down to speak, is because, Josephine, Jackson, and Douglas are the hot seat for this issue. They were the counties that were picked by our governor to work on a project program to see what could be done.
Exactly. We've got Rae Copitka and Loma Wharton in with the Liberators2004.org organization. Check out their website, and we'll be right back. We've got a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about this proclamation by Klamath County commissioners. You won't believe it. They are stepping up to the plate. Hats off to them, the rest of the commissioners, and as well, Jackson County commissioners, they're working behind the scenes to get this put together. More on the Sunrise Show. We return. The Bloomberg Market Update is up next. Back here on KCMX News Radio 880.
Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. 34 minutes after the hour, continuing with Loma Wharton and Rae Copitka and the Liberators2004.org. That's their website. Get to the website, Liberators2004. It's 2004.org. And tying in with AmericanLandsCouncil.org as well, and Utah State Representative Ken Ivory. What's interesting, ladies, is that the Klamath County Commissioners, they set a proclamation dated September 2nd, and as they go all the page, whereas they acknowledge everything, and they say, now therefore be it proclaimed that the governing body of Klamath County supports the passage of the Transfer of Public Lands Act in order to hold the federal government to its long overdue promise to transfer title to public lands to the state to protect the state's public education system and economic vitality, and to preserve the important historical and cultural contribution that our public lands provide to the state of Oregon, the nation, and the world. And, of course, it goes on to say Klamath County calls upon its local municipalities and fellow Oregon counties to do the same. Interestingly enough, it takes guts and the shortage of leadership realizing that all of these rights are there already. We just need to claim them.
Yes. We've never said that we're going to do anything different or that they should do anything different. All of the laws and acts and regulations are currently on the book, but they're not being followed. No. We're not taking advantage of them. We're being controlled by attorneys and lawsuits.
Yep.
If by the counties taking back the lands, what happens is it takes the power out of the hands of the environmentalists to sue under the Equal Access to Justice Act. And if anybody thinks that this is about the environment, they need to follow the money. Because every time they file a suit and win, which they do 90% of the time because nobody wants to step in and countersue, so they're making upwards of $700 to $750 per hour per attorney involved under equal access to justice. By moving it into county jurisdiction, it takes that ability away because they only have access to those funds when they file on a federal level.
In a federal level, that's exactly right. It was interesting when I had Senator Ron Wyden on the phone and with a conference call, kind of a newsroom thing, and he talked about his Land Act of 2013 and how they were going to split everything up and allow timber harvest and all that kind of stuff. And I said, does your Land Act have any exclusion or premise for salvage logging? I couldn't believe the answer I got from him. He said no. It was the most direct. I couldn't believe it. But of course, that all of this loss in federal land and timber and salvage, it's amazing when you look at the losses of revenue, and the citizens and the counties and the states are paying the price.
Exactly. And the people need to wake up and understand that. You know, a lot of folks are like, well, we don't want the state to control it, or we don't want it sold to private enterprise. You know, it's either that or a foreign country comes in and works it for us, which is exactly the route that we're on right now. Frankly, I would much rather keep it within our borders. And at a state level, we have a lot more control than we do at a federal level. At a county level, we have the utmost of control and influence regarding this and the authority to do what's right. And it's each individual area that knows what's right for them. You know, that was the whole thing that this country was founded on, was local control, because we know best.
Well, and Loma, you called it right away, with the control over the money and the mining. Here's a part of this document that Ken Ivory's got posted on his website, the American Lands Council. It says, if the federal government reserves the control of all the mineral, including coal and oil, all the lumber, power, water, and grazing lands of the West, the transfer of the remaining worthless land to the states would be of benefit only to the bureaus that might thereby issue more modest statistics on federal encroachment. I mean, they've got all the good stuff, and they're giving us the leftovers. It's craziness.
They have control of our very life.
They really do.
You know,
it's just shocking. And I tell you what, the rest of the country doesn't get it because they've all been released. There's I continually talk about the states that are 10% or less controlled by the federal government, but the 10 states all in the West have 50% and more. I think Oregon is number 4. So, well, ladies, thanks so much. I tell you, it's amazing to hear this. Folks can get to the website, right? What's the best way? Liberators2004.org?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, get there, and then we'll have more as this continues to break open and county level. People need to get involved, and of course, when are we going to have Ken Ivory back?
Whenever you like. Ken is available at any time. He will come speak to county commissioners, small groups, large groups. We plan on bringing him back probably closer to the Union County, Baker County area,
okay,
to talk with them. And I believe it was going to be in November.
Good deal. Well,
we'll be talking to some folks regarding that and coordinating with that, and we'll get the word out as soon as we know.
Well, yeah, and I want to...
Craig, if you go to our webpage, Liberators2004.org, on the very first page, you'll have a video of that we did at the Patriots Gathering in Coos Bay, and we go into more detail about the counties taking their jurisdiction back.
That's awesome. Ladies, thanks so much. Rae Copitka and Loma Wharton, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberators2004.org. We'll continue after this quick break. We'll be right back on The Sunrise Show.